Contrarian thinking is what sets you apart from the crowd. This is what separates the rest from the best and competition from monopoly. But before this, pause the video for a couple of seconds and tell me what do you think about these principles. Well, on the surface it seems alright that these principles, or at least some of them, are fine. If this doesn't sound right for you, then yes, you got a point here. If your aim is to be among the best, then you should probably replace these lean principles with "it is better to risk boldness than triviality." A bad plan is better than no plan. Competitive markets destroy profits. And finally, sales matters just as much as products. So, did you ever stop for a minute to ask yourself, what valuable company is nobody building? Think outside the box is a much harder task. While everyone itching to start from one, by copying or competing over something that exists, go instead from 0 to 1. Find that 0 and create a new paradigm. The word of perfect competition is a word when profit is competed away. So there is no strict science in entrepreneurship. Every great moment in business or in history only happens once. The next Mark Zuckerberg will not be starting social network page. The next Larry Page will not build a search engine. We live in a world where courage is in much shorter supply than genius. And unlike the old saying that all happy families are similar, economy or happy companies are different. Monopolies who stand on the top of the pyramid are totally different. Creating value isn't enough. Creating value and make profit is what you should aim for. US Airlines serves millions of passengers and creates hundreds of billions of dollars in cash of value every year. On the other hand, Google, which made 2 or 3 times less than this latter, keep 21% of what it earns, more than 3 times of all US Airlines profits combined. This is why competition kills the market, and the profit margin simply gets washed away by the fierce competition by rivals. Monopoly businesses with strong future cash flows share several characteristics. This makes the product difficult and sometimes impossible to copy. As a rule of thumb, it should be 10 times better than its closest competitor. Take a look at Google search engine or PayPal when it makes the payment 10 times faster than what it used to be on eBay. Or Apple when it launched the iPad. It was clear that it was already much better by a comfortable margin of magnitude. If your product is valuable, then the more people use it, the more successful it becomes. As an example, Facebook, it becomes so huge that if you use another platform, it will only make you feel eccentric. Many businesses gain only limited advantages as they grow to a large scale, whereas a monopoly business gets stronger as it gets bigger. Netflix, they don't need big surfaces to store their products or thousands of employees to get the job done. All the money goes to investments in order to improve the user experience and billions of dollars in advertisements that has a massive return on investment year after year. Take Apple as an example. With the playful keynotes, material quality, minimalist design and high prices, we can agree that it may be susceptible to imitation, and you're wrong to think that this monopoly earns what Google and Microsoft earn combined only because of what I said. This shiny surface doesn't work without a strong underlying substance, a complex suite of proprietary technology both in hardware and software. So proprietary technology, network, economy of scale, and branding relatively define monopoly. But how to get there? How to build a monopoly? A big market is a bad choice, and a big market served by competing companies is even worse. It is easier to dominate a small market than a large one. The perfect target for a startup is a small group of people concentrated together or served by few or no competition. And this was a textbook of what Amazon did. Amazon starts with dominating the book market. Once they become the biggest bookstore in the world, this is when they extend their market slowly but steadily, owning more than 50% of the global retail market. The name itself brilliantly reflects the scale and strategy of Amazon. The biodiversity of the Amazon rain reflected its first goal of cataloging every book in the world, and now it stands for every kind of thing, period. Disruption is a term used to define a low-end product sold at low prices. Improve the product over time and eventually overtake even the premium products. I can't find a better example other than the OnePlus. After years of perfect marketing, they step up the game progressively, and this year they launched finally a flagship competing head-to-head with the high-end Samsung and Apple flagships. Being first should be a target, not a goal. Your main goal is to generate cash flow in the future. So being the first mover doesn't do you any good if someone else comes along and unseats you. So in order to succeed, you should study the end game before anyone else. Many celebrities claim the chance has a big influence on their success. This isn't right. Maybe these guys are just being strategically humble. Among many of several multi-millionaire entrepreneurs, only few of them make it to the top, like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Jack Dorsey, etc. If success were mostly a matter of luck, this kind of serial entrepreneurs probably wouldn't exist. So can we predict the future, or like Tim asked, can you control the future? Success isn't a matter of luck. Start with yourself. Our system is clearly made to emphasize diversification in education and skills by making you even in several and random subjects to end up average on everything and almost good at nothing. If you treat your future like something definite, then you can understand it and advance and work to shape it. But if you expect your future like something indefinite, ruled by randomness, you will give up on trying to master it. The indefinite pessimist can't know whether the inevitable decline will be fast or slow, catastrophic or gradual. All he can do is wait for it to happen. The definite pessimist believes that the future can be known, but since it is bleak, he must prepare for it. To a definite optimist, the future will be better than the present if he plans and works to make it better. And finally, an indefinite optimist, instead of working for years to develop a new product, optimists rearrange already invented ones. A startup messed up or its foundation cannot be fixed. Beginnings are special. So once you start, the most crucial decision should be with whom you are going to start with. You need good and effective people who get along well. And you also need a well thought out structure to keep people aligned for the long term, whether we are talking about ownership, position, or control. Don't stop believing in secrets. Don't act like this is the era where everything is already discovered and there is no secret left behind. If you see a unique opportunity that others don't see, then keep it safe and secure. Unless you have perfectly conventional beliefs, it is rarely a good idea to tell everybody everything that you know. If you build it, will they come? The easy and short answer is no. Startups should care about sales just as much as they care about products. Nowadays, companies invest billions and billions of dollars just to make their product. What matters the most is that what you create should reach the customer. You should aim beyond professionalism. Create a team that transcends your company from being transactional to being neat. The same way PayPal team did, where almost each of the 7 companies worth right now has over $1 billion each. And finally, we end this summary with what we started the video with. It's to aim for a monopoly rather than chasing competition. Avoid globalization for the sake of technology. This is the recipe provided by a genius and a veteran entrepreneur. Despite his young age, his experience is priceless, and it's a rare occasion to see someone share his thoughts explicitly in his book. Unlike gurus who are only trying to empty your pockets for some misleading information that is 90% of the time already exists everywhere and for free on YouTube or in the other platforms.